Hey, this is Andrew Kooman. Did you know that you can now listen to The 49 on Unveil TV? Unveil TV is a place where you can watch what inspires you, like the Breath of Life series featuring innovators like Dallas Jenkins, or you can also check out She Has a Name, the film based on my popular stage play. There's other great documentaries and films, and now you can listen to The 49 there as well. Go to unveiltv.com today and get your free trial. That's unveiltv.com. Thanks for listening. Now here's the latest episode of The 49.
49. The last president inaugurated in the United States. The span of terrible days after the global comms blackout when the world was reshaped. The number of strange supernatural phenomena that appear around the globe. You're listening to The 49, the new series by Andrew Kooman. Get the content right in your inbox when you subscribe at the49.substack.com. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Welcome to the world of The 49.
It was the sheer boldness that surprised the corridor the most. Broad daylight, a clear day, when drones could be in the sky without any interference. At first, the cleanup team assumed the insurgents depended on the falls to dismantle the Gov's air power and phyto drones. The attack started so close to the boundary line of Masquatchis. Perhaps they thought the phosphorescence would render the tech dead. Boyer was in an in-between state, returning to her body, ruminating on her time spent in the falls. Her arms and feet still ached with the signature mental burn, the almost painful tingling sensation that always accompanied her experience within the territory where the foes fell on her. Was it heat or was it extreme cold? She couldn't really tell. It didn't hurt, but it did alert her that she had stepped into a pocket of what the bishop called glory. Doxa. Her feet still tingled when she entered the EV. She rested her head against the window and looked out over the trees on the side of the road and whispered the words that crystallized into her minds. While she sat in the small parish. Movement in the trees pulled her out of her contemplation. All along the edge of the road, men in camo emerged from the brush. Boyer saw a woman pushing a wheelbarrow, running toward the first truck in the convoy. The woman's head was low, tucked between the two wooden arms of the wheelbarrow, running fast, her boots covered in mud. The truck at the front of the convoy was just about to reach a curve in the road that cut into a bank. The woman suddenly stopped running and heaved the wheelbarrow. As it cleared the bank and hurtled toward the truck, Boyer reached for the comms panel and slammed her hand against the interface and yelled IED. But the words were lost to the first explosion, which ripped through the quiet, electric-powered hum of the convoy and tore into the metal skeleton of the first transport truck. The front of the first transport truck seemed to drop into the ground, its front bumper slamming the earth as it disappeared into a ball of fire. The trailer in the back popped off the ground like a neck that snapped, swinging up against the hitch. It spun sideways and landed on its side, jackknifing as it crashed. It landed perpendicular to the road and blocked it. All this happened in a matter of a few seconds as a man and a woman, on opposite sides of the road, barreled toward the middle truck, the one directly in front of Boyer, with other improvised explosives. She watched, stunned, as two insurgents ran toward the bank that rose on the edge of the road on each side of the middle truck. The man pushed a child's tricycle which had a metal box fixed to the wheel, tied down with ropes and duct tape. The woman had a red metal wagon, the tongue and handle removed. She pushed the body of the wagon, her face close to the wheels, her chest near the ground. Boyer saw the first drone already in the sky. She heard the man shout now. And as both released their little improvised bombs, the woman was thrown back with a fatal shot from the armed drone. Half of her face was ripped off by the lethal shot, and she crumpled. As her body hit the ground, 2 balls of flame erupted and 2 quick blasts rocked the transport truck in front of Boyer. It looked like an invisible foot kicked it in the ribs, and the metal ripped open, indented like an aluminum can. The blasts popped Boyer's EV momentarily off the ground. Shrapnel flew through the air and splattered the wide, curved glass of the cab where Boyer sat. The vehicle slammed back to the ground. The glass remained intact, but it was cracked and pockmarked. A drone turned its guns on the man who rolled and dodged a line of bullets that ripped up the ground near him in bursts of soil and grass. The ground suddenly looked like water drops as 2 drones aimed and fired. He dropped out of Boyer's eyeline. Her vehicle now stopped and tried to reverse. The light around the steering wheel was red, which meant someone at the headquarters of the Gov had taken over remotely. There was an override procedure that she could attempt, but there was nowhere for her to drive. Over the comms, she heard a female voice say, "Stay in the vehicle. There is body armor in the compartment near the driver's side door." "I'm a sitting duck," Boyer said. She was calm. "Who are they?" she asked as she looked through the cabinet. There were 2 AR-15s, a comms pack, not much else. Unidentified, the woman's voice again. "They've got to know we dropped the supplies already. Put on the vest. Await instructions." Boyer reached into the cabinet in front of her and grabbed the Kevlar vest. As she was pulling it on, she saw 3 more drones appear above her. She scanned the line of trees where she saw the men and women appear in camo, but they were nowhere to be seen. The 3 drones dropped near the trucks and scanned the area. 3 more appeared from over the trees. All surveillance drones, all armed. Suddenly they all stopped, turned, and slowly floated up above the carnage of the vehicles in front of her, like they became a unified, sentient being. They moved into circular formation, hovering about 20 feet above the first EV, and slowly moved toward the trees. Boyer grabbed the door handle and pulled. "It wouldn't budge. Let me out of here. Stay in the vehicle until further notice." As the comms went quiet, the circle of 6 drones dropped from the sky and slammed into the ground. They looked like stunned fish. Pulled out of water as they flopped, attempting to get back into the air, but stopped by some sort of net. The net pulled tighter against the drones and yanked them off the ground. It spun like a skipping rope that suddenly pulled taut. The blades of the drones hummed and spun until they could no longer move, caught as they were in the material of the net. 6 people in camo appeared from the ground, where they hid under a carpet of grass. They reached up through the mesh, each with a tool in their hands, expertly opened the panels on the underside of each drone and powered the drones down. 2 more people emerged from the trees on each side of the rope and removed the netting. Together, they formed a circle, unlike the formation of the drones in the sky, and each went to a drone. 6 more people slipped out of the trees and ran to them to help their compatriots manhandle the drones, which were heavy and near impossible for one man to carry. Boyer marveled at the feat, what until today had been impossible for the surge. And she had witnessed it firsthand. But before she could think about what it all meant, she was interrupted by the tap on the glass of the cracked passenger side door. 2 masked figures in camouflage stood at the door. They both pointed rifles at her head.
Thanks for listening to this portion of The 49 by Andrew Kooman. New content drops for paid subscribers every Monday at the49.substack.com. That's the49.substack.com. On Tuesdays, we release new audio on all your favorite podcast platforms. If you like what you're hearing, make sure you subscribe and to share it with a friend. Thanks for listening to The 49.